What's going on, guys? Justin Fuller, ex-Honda salesman, tech lover, and today your host, and we are going to be going over some tips and tricks on the 2026 Honda Passport. So you don't own this thing for a year only to go, damn, I didn't even know it could do that. So let's hop on in. So the 2026 Passport is set up with what's called Smart Key Entry. And what that means is if you have the key in your pocket, you can walk up to the driver's side door, grab that door handle, and it'll automatically unlock. But what it doesn't do is unlock the remaining doors. But you can change that. You can set it up where when you touch this handle, it'll unlock all the doors. Let me show you how to do that. So to set up this feature, we're gonna come in here and we wanna go to Vehicle Settings. When you go into Vehicle Settings, you're gonna wanna choose Keyless Access Setup. When you jump into Keyless Access Setup, the very first setting, Door Unlock Mode, you can then switch this and change it to all doors. So when you touch the door handle, it'll unlock all the doors so all your passengers can hop in. So the Passport's set up with a really cool feature. And what that is if you want to roll the windows down, you can do it from your key fob. If you press the unlock button once and then press it a second time and hold it, it'll actually roll down your windows and even a moonroof if you've got one. Now, that's a really cool feature, but what if I'm laying on my couch and I accidentally roll over on my keys? Could I roll this down in the middle of a storm? Yes, you could. But you can turn this feature off. Let me show you how. So to access this feature, you want to go to Vehicle Settings. Now, when you're in Vehicle Settings, you're going to want to go to Door Setup. Now, just for the sake of this, understand you can change the view here. So if you want to do this from here, no big deal, go to Door Setup. Once you get under Door Setup, you are going to scroll down and you're going to see Keyless Remote Power Window Controls. From there, you would just turn that feature off. For the Honda Passport, here's a cool little Easter egg that you might enjoy. If you go into Vehicle Settings, when you get in here, depending on the view you're using, right, you've got a couple different views that you can use. If you go to the menu up here, you can actually select the color of your car. So if you want it to match your particular car, you can set this up. So when you're looking through the menus, it'll look just like what you're driving. So have you ever been in the back of someone's car and they stop the car, we're all about to get out, and you go, what is going on? And there's not like an unlock button. You have to manually find it to unlock it to then get out. Well, Hondas are set up to where when the vehicle comes to a stop and they turn the car off and they open their door, it then unlocks the remaining doors of the vehicle. You can actually change that setting. You got a few different options. Check this out. To change this, we want to go into Vehicle Settings. When you get into Vehicle Settings, you're going to want to go to Door Setup. Under Door Setup, it is the second one down, Auto Door Unlock. Currently it's set to where when the driver's side door opens, it then unlocks the remaining doors of the car. If you would like to change that, understand you have some options. When you shift to park, it can then unlock all the doors, or when you turn the ignition off, it can then unlock all the doors. So know that you've got a couple different features here, or you can turn this feature completely off. So if you're anything like me, you get out of the car, you've got your belongings, or what you think you have, but maybe you leave a laptop or bags in the car, and you go walking into a store. And you get about halfway into that store to do your shopping, and you go, oh my God, I don't know if I actually locked the door. So then what you do, you got to turn around. You got to walk back out of the store, and in the whole time you're hitting an alarm, hoping you can get it to beep or do something, or the lights will flash to let you know that the doors are locked. Well, what if I told you, you can set this up to where when you get 10 feet from the car, the doors will automatically lock. To set up the walkaway auto lock feature, you're going to go into Vehicle Settings. When you go into Vehicle Settings, you want to go to Door Setup. Under Door Setup, it's going to be the third one down. You're going to see walkaway auto lock. This feature's default is to be turned off. You're going to want to turn that feature on. Now, when you get 10 feet from the car, it's going to automatically lock the doors for you. Depending on which version of the Passport you get, you may have a couple of these options. The first one is, this one is set up to where if I walk up and I kick my leg underneath it, it'll actually pop open the tailgate for me. So you're going to find this on certain trims. It's pretty cool. But the second piece that I want to show you that's going to exist on a lot of them is you can adjust the height to this. Now, how you do that, you're going to want to get the height to wherever is comfortable for you, and then you're going to press and hold this. When you do, you're going to hear a double beep inside, and then you're gonna have the height set for you. So I wanna talk to you about a couple more tricks related to the cargo space in this vehicle. So check this out. When you come into the back, first thing I'll point out is, check out these floor mats. Not mad at that, kind of cool. Come stand over the car, just cool to know. Anyways, let's talk about the back. So in the cargo space, this is a little bit different from other vehicles I've seen. One, you can flip this guy up and you've got cargo space in here. That's kind of nice to not all have to pick up the whole thing. Sometimes you got a lot of crap back here. But then I can pop this sucker open, and this is where you can get your spare and that same piece. This is actually removable. So if you wanted to pop it out and just use that space for something different, or you wanted to dump out the water that was in it or the ice or whatever, know that you absolutely can. Now, these next two are kind of cool. One, you got this little funnel back here. Let me explain this funnel. If you come around here, you need to get in this. First, they're connected to the door lock. So when you have the doors unlocked, you can pop this and it'll pop open. Now, this has a valve now. So if you ran out of gas and you didn't have a gas can on you, you're gonna need a way to hold this open to be able to pour gas into the car if you're not at a gas station, right, with the deal. That's what this is for. You'd be able to hold this open and then pour gas into the vehicle. So kind of cool. Related to that, if this ever got stuck and you couldn't get it open, you'd be going, well, if I'm pushing on it, it won't open. What can I do? there's a little panel back here. There's actually a little notch here. You can use your key if you need to pop it open. When you get to that, you're gonna see this guy right here. You can pull this guy and that'll help pop this guy open for you. Now, related to some of those tailgate features that we were talking about, I want to point out this button back here. It's a little bit different. You don't see this typically in cars. First, there's an AC 115 volt outlet right here, right? So you could flip this down and get to that. But also, if you needed to close this, you could press this and it's going to give you a couple seconds and then it'll throw this down for you. So kind of nice to be able to push it in there, grab your bags, and then walk away. So the Honda Passport is set up with remote start. If you're not familiar with remote start, what you would do is press the lock button, and there's a little button with a round circle on it you could press and you could hold. When you do that, a couple things are gonna happen. One, the lights will flash, and then it'll actually fire up the car. Now, that makes some people uncomfortable because they're like, well, what if somebody runs and gets inside my car and drives away? Well, I wanna point out a couple things. One, you lock the door, so you would have to have the key to be able to then get inside of the car. And even if you could get inside of the car, you would still have to have the key fob. You'd have to put your foot on the brake and press the start button to actually fully crank up the car to where you could drive away. But if all of this still makes you uncomfortable, you can turn remote start off. Let me show you how. To turn remote start off, we are gonna go to vehicle settings. When you get into vehicle settings, we are then gonna go to keyless access setup. Under keyless access setup, if you scroll down at your fourth one, you're gonna see remote start system on off. If I turn this off, now it doesn't matter if I hit that sequence, it won't remote start the vehicle. Now, on the Passport, like many Hondas at this point in a lot of new cars, the door locks, the gas door, everything is connected electronically. So when you lock the doors, if you were to kill the battery, you need a way to be able to get in because you're not gonna be able to use the fob to unlock the doors or to get to the gas can. There's a way to do that. Let me show you how. So what you're gonna need is on your key. When you're looking at it, there is a little button over here. If you press that button, there's actually a little piece that you can slide out. So if I can press it and do this with one hand, you can slide that out. There is a key that lives in here. If you come over to the door, behind your driver's side door, if you look up underneath, there is a door slot right there. You can then put this key inside of it to pop it and to be able to open the door. Now, there are times in life when you may want to lock your keys in your car, right? So you'd want to be able to throw your keys in it, press the lock button, and then walk away from the car. The problem is that this car is set with smart key entry to where it won't lock when you do that, right? It'll immediately unlock the doors to where you can get back inside of the car. Now, you can actually turn this feature off to where you can lock a key in the car. So if you're waiting for a tow truck driver to come by or a friend to come by later and they have the other key, maybe you want to lock that key inside the car. Let me show you how to set that up. So to turn off lockout prevention, we're going to go into vehicle settings. When you get under vehicle settings, you want to go to keyless access setup. Under keyless access setup, if you scroll down, you're going to see lockout prevention. You can then turn that feature off. Now, I get asked occasionally, is there a way to lock the car with it running and get out with the keys? Because maybe you need to run into a store, do something, and your dog's in the car, but you still want the doors to be locked so everybody's safe, but you want it to be running so the heater or the AC or whatever can stay on. Now, you could just remote start the car when you get out and start it up and let it run, but it'll run for 10 minutes, or I believe you can extend it to 20. Hopefully that's enough. But if for some reason you were looking for another way to do this, you can do it. Let me show you how. We are going to unlock the door, right? We're gonna roll the driver's side down. From there, we are gonna get out of the car. When we get out, we wanna leave the keys right inside on the seat. Now, I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna shut the door. The car is running as we speak. What I'm gonna do is I am gonna lock the doors. I'm gonna then grab the key, and I'm gonna use the auto window roll up to roll up the windows to where now it's locked and running and I can walk away from the car. Now, with this going, because the doors are locked, your key fob isn't gonna work now. So when you come up and try to grab this and unlock it, or you try to hit it from the key fob, it's not gonna work, right? So that can be a little bit scary. So I mentioned, if you ever wanna try this, roll that passenger window down the first time you do this. Now, to get back in, you're gonna wanna come to your key. There's a little button you can press right here and slide this out to where there's a key that lives in here. You're gonna need that key. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull out this door handle. There is a slot underneath it where you can put that key. Once I get the key in, what I'm gonna do in a second here, because I'm gonna have to use both hands, I wanna turn it one time that way and then remove it and then let go of the door handle. Not the easiest way to do things, but it is possible, in case you're wondering how. I've got my seatbelt on, and that plays a role for these next few features that I want to show you, related tips and tricks. So if we look over to center stack where all your buttons are, right? The first thing I want to point out is if you have the parking brake on. So let's say I got in the car, I cranked it up, it was in park, and the parking brake was on. If you've ever been like me, you've gone, you put it in driving, you start to try, and you're like, I'm not moving, what am I doing? And then you're like, I'm an idiot, I didn't turn off the parking brake. Well, if you have your seatbelt on, you can then shift out of park. Instead of hitting that, you can just release the brake and hit the gas, and it'll automatically release that to where you can take off and go. Kind of cool. Now, the second part to this is, I want to talk to you about brake hold. So I'm gonna have the car in drive, and I'm gonna engage the brake hold button. When I do, you're gonna see brake hold pop up, and then you're gonna see hold. What that will do is it'll hold the brake while I'm in drive, so I don't have to put my foot on it. Now, this is just a convenience feature, but it's nice to at least know what it does. So if you're in like a drive-through line, or maybe you're at the bank, or maybe you're just in a lot of stop and go traffic, it'll hold the brake for you. Then when it's time to take off, I can just touch the gas pedal, it'll release and we'll start moving forward. When I come to a stop again, it'll then hold the brake for me to where I can release my foot from the brake pedal, and it'll hold it while we're in drive. So when you're driving down the road, you have a camera that's up here, and it's used for lane keep assist to detect the lines on the road to keep you centered inside of them. You've got quite a few different safety features. But what I like about this camera is when you're going down the road, it can actually pick up speed signs, and it'll display them right here if you allow it to. On top of that, it can not only display the speed sign here, but if you're going 3 over, 5 over, or 10 over, it can provide you an audible alert. So if you drive a lot and you end up with small towns where you don't know where the speed limit is, and it tends to be a speed trap, why not set it up to alert you so that you don't get that ticket going 13 over? I want to go into vehicle settings. In your vehicle settings, you want to go to driver assist system setup. In here, we want to scroll down. There's a couple things we want to make on. First, you want to make sure the traffic sign recognition system is turned on. That's what's going to tell you there's a traffic sign and display it. Now, the second part to this is the speed limit warning. I want to turn that feature on. When you do, it's going to present you with some options. So if I jump into this, I can then decide, do I want to alert when I'm going 3 over? Do I want to alert when I'm going 5 over? Or do I want to alert when I'm going 10 over? You can pick and take advantage. All right, so these next couple tips and tricks I want to show you are going to be related to Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Now, I use a Google Pixel 7 Pro, so I'm going to use Android Auto, but these will work the same. So I'm going to jump in. Now, I've already connected up my phone, right? So let me jump back to the home screen, and you'll see this, right? Typically, I've got my maps over here, and then I've got music and things here. Now, you can flip-flop these. It's very simple to do. So if you prefer the maps closer to you, if you scroll down and you go to your settings, from here, you want to jump in there and scroll to the bottom. Now, if you scroll up just a little bit, you can go to change layout. From here, you can then switch this to where the navigation is closer to the driver. So when I jump back, now my navigation is over here and my music and everything is over there. In here, there's a couple things I want to point out. One, I've got all these quick actions set up, right? They're custom actions to where what I can do is I can touch this and it'll immediately pull up, fill in the prompt for me, and direct me to the nearest gas station, right? And you can set up tons of these, right? So if there's places you want to go, Taco Bell, right? Like I've done these as examples before in other vehicles, it'll direct me to the nearest Taco Bell. So it's kind of nice. You don't have to fill in the prompt for you and do all of that. You can set up a custom action. Now, the other part to that is you can set up a custom action to call a person to where if you touch it, it'll immediately start dialing them and call them. Once you have all this set up, you can rearrange the order of all of this. So understand you can change the order if you want certain things to live in certain places. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to customize. When I do that, it's going to launch the Android Auto app on my phone. So then you're going to see this screen pop up, right? Or if you're an Apple user, same screen, just a little bit different preview, right? Now, the first part is if you want to add a shortcut to the launcher, I'm going to select this. From there, you can either call a contact. If you want to do that, you just select it, go find the person you want to add and select them. Pretty easy to do. The second part is if you want to do that custom action, right? So assisted action. From here, this is where I would put in the command. So maybe directions to nearest Starbucks, and then you want to label it Starbucks. Now, once you've done this, you can test the command, or if you're confident that it'll work, go ahead and create it. Now, when you create the command, it's then going to drop it down at like the very bottom. So you're going to see it down here at the very bottom, and I'm going to scroll and grab it and drag it to wherever I want it, right? So I would grab this and drag it all the way up to where I want it. Now, while we're in here, you've seen how to create those two custom actions, but the second part to this is how do I rearrange stuff? So if I wanted maps to be first, right? And then maybe I want gas station to be second. And then Starbucks, since we just put that in, I'll put that in third. I can drop these in to change the order. Now, if I want that to take effect, I'm going to have to disconnect. Now that we've restarted the car, I can go into Android Auto. From there, I can jump in to all my apps and options, and you'll see maps, gas station, and then Starbucks. And to test it out, if I go ahead and select it, it'll drop in the prompt for me and then direct me to the nearest Starbucks. If you've got that partner who likes to send you spicy messages, you may not want them to pop up on the screen while you're driving around and there's other people in the car. So if you go into settings, I want to show you something. If you scroll down to the very bottom, there's see more settings on your phone. You can then select that. If you do, you're going to get prompted with a screen that looks like this. If you're an Apple user, it's going to be very similar. If you scroll down, there's a couple things here. Messaging, show messaging notifications. You can turn that off, show group conversations, right? I've got a couple group chats that I don't want anybody seeing because they say all kinds of weird stuff. You can also turn off the show first line of a message, right? So understand there are some things here that you can customize so that they're not popping up the screen while you're driving around with maybe your mom in the car. Now, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are pretty awesome. They can do a lot of things that are super helpful, but you still get access to some of your apps that you can take advantage of on the screen. However, you don't get access to things like Netflix, and you don't get the full versions of things like Spotify, where it's forcing you to use voice commands instead of just being able to type stuff in. Well, I want you to check this out. So what you're seeing on here probably looks a lot different from what you're used to seeing on the touchscreen of your vehicle. Now, what I'm able to do is I'm running a completely different platform, but two, if you jump into my apps, you'll notice that I have the availability of the Play Store to go download any app I want, but I've also got some apps that you don't, like YouTube TV, Netflix, Prime Video. If I want to get on Kodi, if I want to get on Disney Plus, whatever I want to take advantage of, I can jump in here and take access of it, and I can use it at any time. Now, with that said, don't be an idiot. Be safe. If you're driving around, pay attention to the road, but it's kind of cool to be able to jump into some of these apps. If I was taking a long road trip, play a show for my kids, and we could enjoy ourselves, right? Now, this maybe not be the one that I want to show them, but it's a good example of how you can take advantage of this and use it, right? Pretty sweet. Now, the other piece that I like about this, so let me jump out of this, is that when I go into certain apps, right? If I go into like Spotify, it'll allow me the full version of the app. So I can come in here and let's say I want to search someone out, right? So I jump into my search and I say, okay, who do I want to search out? I'm gonna do Akon because I've already searched him once. Throw back to the early 2000s, why not? When I get in here, it's gonna give me everything. Songs I've currently liked, all their popular songs, artist picks, their discography, popular releases, everything. So it's gonna show me all of these different things, much like if you were viewing this on your phone, right, or a laptop. It's not gonna be those kind of cut up versions that you get on Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. I really, really like this. So how am I doing it? I'm using a box. And the box is plugging into the same place that I would plug my phone in. It is this box right here, right? So that box is made by this company, CarLink Kit. I've actually reviewed quite a few of their boxes. They're pretty sweet. So this specific box is the CPC 200T box. Now, they have several versions that you can take advantage of, but this one's pretty affordable and it does some pretty cool things. I found the things that I do like and that I don't like. This box, I like the price point, and if you want to do it, buy it through my link or use my coupon code, I can save you some money. So I'll throw that up on the screen, and I'll throw a link in the description with my coupon code so that you can take advantage of this if it's something you want to do. So this isn't something direct through Honda as far as a tip or trick, but it is something I find very helpful inside of my Honda. If you could do me a couple things. One, press the like button so that this video will appear a little bit higher up in that search with that algorithm. Two, I hope you'll leave a comment if there's a tip or trick you wish I would add, or something you feel like you know about that I should know about, please do share that with me. Third, I hope you'll share the video. If you got some friends who are looking at a passport, or maybe they own a passport and you're like, they could definitely use some help with this, I hope you share the video. Fourth, I hope you subscribe to the channel so when I create other videos like this, you'll absolutely get them, because I think I make pretty good content, and I think you think that too. Other than that, like, comment, subscribe, all the things. Later, guys!